Another edition of Civically Speaking. I'm Alicia Crank, Executive Director of Seattle City Club, and I am joined by Kellyanna Brooking. Kellyanna, hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad that you were able to carve out time because I see how busy you are with classes, but also everything that's going on social media. I have been waiting to have this conversation with you for a while, as you know, especially as one of the leadership team members of our new Civically Engaged Youth Council. We already talked with Shirag, and I know that Kellen and Brooke will be doing one with me as well over the course of the summer. But first of all, I'm just glad that you're part of our leadership team. I know
Yes, me
that when
too.
I was initially, kind of banding this idea about it and saying I wanted to make sure that, it was diverse on a number of levels. I wanted to be politically diverse, across the board, geographically diverse as well. And I had been following you on Twitter for a while, but I really thought you were a 30-year-old woman. Until someone, when I was talking about this council, they were like, "You need to talk to her," and I was like, "She's too old." He's like, "No, she's 15. Well, you're 16 now." But I was like,
Yes.
"Are you kidding me?" And so, I'm just glad that you said, "Hey, let's do this," because you're over in the Tri Cities, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So I was so happy that you came over when we did the
Thank you.
in-person launch here in Seattle. And so talk more about what have you been doing? I know that some people know you from a lot of different spaces, and
Yes.
you've had your own platform for a while, which was one of the reasons why I wanted someone like you that would be part of this leadership team because you're already doing the stuff.
Thank you.
And each of you
Yeah.
individually are doing the thing. So I just think collectively you're going to help us figure out how we need to be doing things better and engaging the Gen Z vote because we're not doing a good job of that.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much. And yeah, so what I've been doing, I'm 16 now, but I've had my platform since I was 12. And it's definitely been a little bit of a roller coaster. Opinions change, you learn new things, you meet new people, discussions are had. So opinions are constantly changing, which I think is amazing. Personally, I've had that happen. I'm still a teenager, so my mind is growing and I am introduced to new topics all the time, which I'm thankful for. And I used to be a little bit more of interested in commentary, which I still love giving my opinions. If somebody asks for my opinion on something, I am not afraid to give it. I'm very opinionated. I try to stay educated as much as I can. But however, in the last year and a half or so, I have been trying to redirect my platform more towards actual journalism and learning how to report on situations and topics and events and interview people without giving my opinion and trying to just find the truth for people so they can form their own opinions.
How easy has that been for you? And I realize that's a rhetorical question, but how has that been trying to navigate being able to have people just to be able to gather information as opposed to something that's more attack worthy?
Yeah, for sure. Great question. Well, journalism is sadly a dying industry, so it's hard to find the truth and hard to find people who will just speak without an opinion. However, it has definitely not been easy. It is very, very simple to give commentary, your opinion, and very simple to make those, clickbaity videos where it's like the title or caption is like, oh, Donald Trump is racist, or oh, Biden did this and that. Just like these little easy clickbait titles that are so easy and get you all these thousands of views and crazy comments and all of these things. But nobody really wants to click on your video when it's, oh, the truth about the 2020 election. Nobody really thinks that's interesting, unfortunately. And, I have in the past been more on the commentary side, so more giving my opinions, which unfortunately, since there is that digital footprint of that, it's hard to get opinions from people who have opposing views because it's easy to hold that against someone, which is unfortunate because I think regardless of someone's opinions or political views, everybody deserves to be heard and have a platform and have a conversation. So I wish people would be more open-minded with that.
Well, let's talk about that, right? Because like I said, when I was following you, and yeah, you were more, on the commentary side, but
Mhm.
aren't we all on social media, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants their opinion to be heard. And so now you've kind of gone more to this independent journalist
Yeah.
aspect of it. And I think I didn't personally see it in action until I saw your videos from the Washington State GOP convention and how you were, talking to candidates across the board, whether they
Yeah.
were endorsed or otherwise. So before I dive more into that, um, can you talk about what that experience was like for you coming in, kind of being that independent journalist, but also within the party already having that reputation from before of being more of a commentator?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not going to hide my opinions. Politically, I do tend to lean right on some issues not, because opinions change and conversations are had, but I do tend to lean a little bit right. However, once it's really interesting because regardless of what your political views are, when you're so prominent in that space and then you kind of exit yourself out of it, people hate you. People are mad. People want you to be that clickbaity talking point that they can use. Oh, look how smart this 15-year-old from the Republican Party is. They love to prop me up. And then the second I'd be like, oh, you know what? I actually think that gay people should have rights. I don't think that women belong in the kitchen. They turn against you, which is very interesting and sad to see because I was used for so long when I was that good age to use and for whatever opinions. But it was really interesting at that event because I do tend to lean right, but I unfortunately think that Washington Republicans have failed us tremendously. And I think that it's kind of with the Republican Party, not just Washington, but the GOP in general, it's very the Trump train or nothing mentality. They had this section where, in order to get like chosen for being the delegate or whatever, they would have you like line up in the line at the GOP event and just express how much you love Trump, and then whoever like won the I love Trump most card got chosen to go up on stage. So that was really interesting and it was just a whole mess. All the stereotypes about Washington Republicans are very much true because I
Oh,
saw it in action. And I actually, yeah, spoke with Semi Bird. I think that regardless of your political views or what the candidate is or how kind they are one on one, if your whole entire campaign is built on you making excuses for yourself or always having to clear up rumors or your past, not even rumors, facts from your past that aren't in a good light, if you're constantly having to do that, not to say people don't make mistakes because politicians are still people, everybody makes mistakes. I'm not saying people should be perfect. I'm saying that if you're um, lying about what you did in the military, if you're making credit cards in your dad's name, if you're stealing money, if you're doing this and that, and you constantly have to make excuses for yourself to your voters while running on that base of being God oriented, family oriented, law and order is so important, but then you're going against the law. Just because you're a politician doesn't mean you're against the law. So that was really unfortunate to see at the GOP convention.
yeah, and I would say that unfortunately, no one party owns that that mentality, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because I was looking at something that you posted a couple of days ago to your point, which is you made a post that said maybe it's time for parties to stop supporting criminals and liars. And I think that should universally be a true statement,
Yes.
right? Like, but I saw some comments that agreed with you and others that, started throwing out the term rhino because of that. You're finding yourself getting more of that when you kind of come to that middle ground of things?
Yes, and I actually noticed this before I started leaning towards journalism, even because I am Republican, yes, but if I would just post something simple as like, women should have more options for their careers than just being a stay-at-home wife, or supporting gay marriage shouldn't be a political thing, it should just be common sense, this, that people would call me a rhino or call me a fake Republican or say I'm not conservative enough. Or if I would wear certain clothes, the people that are the Christian conservative gatekeepers would be mad at me. Or Twitter is insane. And yeah, I have noticed myself being called a rhino and a shill. What are some other ones? Just
A
worse ones that I'm
Phil,
not
that's
going to
a new
say.
one for me.
Yeah, people say insane things to me because they can't handle difference of opinion. And what's sad to see is there's also some random like basement tweeters that I don't care about. But when people with large platforms are tweeting that out, it's really a shame because they should You should not be giving your opinion online or trying to prop yourself up as a political figure if you are not mature enough to grasp the concept that somebody can have a different opinion than you. People will full on be trying to debate me or ask me to come on their podcast to debate or do this and that, but they literally are not mature enough to handle the concept of a different opinion. I will debate with somebody or have a civil conversation with anyone practically who disagrees. That's not the problem. But if their whole entire argument is that I'm a rhino or a shill or not conservative or Christian or all of these little talking points, they don't even deserve my time. And not even that. I would say the same thing if it was a liberal influencer,
Yeah.
whatever, and a Republican was calling them horrible names. I don't think that anybody should be doing that. And I think it's really immature.
Well, one of the reasons why we started the, Civically Engaged Youth Council was to a part to what you were just talking about. It's, there's a youth vote out there, an incoming youth vote out there, where there's a lot of division, and there's a lot of, is it very far right or far left? And I think that there are folks in the middle that are trying to figure out which way to go,
Yeah.
and how to do that. But there's so much division, inter-party and then across party.
Yes.
How are you seeing that? I mean, from your own peers as well. Can you talk more about how is that impacting the Gen Z vote? How does that impact those that are getting ready to be ready, get ready to vote because they're going to hit that age soon?
Yeah.
How is it? I have to imagine that it doesn't help bring people together or get someone within that Gen Z population to go, oh yeah, I'm totally going to go in for this or for that.
Yeah, it makes people not want to be political at all. I used to think that like around 2020 when everybody thought that they were the chosen one for being a political activist during that time, I definitely saw more people, a lot of Gen Z leaning left. But I think that now the political landscape is changing and not for the better. Nobody wants to vote or nobody wants to align themselves with a party. And I also think it's not helping when politicians from both sides are not being honest and instead of actually caring about policy to benefit the voter base and just Americans, they're focusing more on the little sound bites and clickbaits and the political theater. So I don't think that Gen Z wants to vote, period. Not left, not right. They just don't want to vote because every politician is being unprofessional and making it extremely unappealing.
Yeah. Well, my hope is that because by the time this comes out, we will have announced our debate series for this year. So, if for those who don't know, one of the programs of Seattle City Club is the Washington State Debate Coalition, and one of the things that I envisioned when we started the Youth Council was for you all to be involved in the
Yes.
debate process on some level. And so, what we're going to do, especially because one of the debates will be OSPI, that we're going to make sure that we have a student panel that's a part of it that are crafting their own questions, but more holistically having everyone that is involved in this process to be able to create and vet questions for all the debates that we're going to be doing across central and western Washington. How do you feel like that will help, hopefully, in get the Gen Z population kind of more invested in the process as opposed to being turned off by maybe what they're seeing through these sound bites on social?
Yeah, great question. And the truthful answer is people love drama. Like everybody loves some good drama, and debates are just the political version of reality TV. So I think that watching debates is probably, well, I think debating is one of the most crucial things that a politician needs to do because not only to prove, oh, I'm right, you're wrong, it just shows the bravery. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but the
Mhm.
maybe the courage. It shows the courage to have a civil conversation, especially in front of people, that you can have a civil conversation or even a heated conversation with somebody that you're running against or have opposing views. So I think one, people will love the drama of watching a debate and the little like quips and the little,
Mhm.
ooh, they did that type of deal. But also I just think it shows the courage and shows the more of like a human side, I guess, instead of
Mhm.
just like a scripted, oh, this is my speech, vote for me because blah blah blah. But you actually get to see that real life banter and unexpected questions between two people or more.
So let me put you on the spot for a second. So let's
Okay.
say let's say the gubernatorial race, for example, or even the attorney general race. What is a question that you would want to ask of those candidates when you're in front of them?
That is a great question. Um, that's a really good question. And something that I've been thinking about, this has been on my mind for a few months now, is this might not seem like a big deal, but to me, I think it's extremely important. I think that putting education first is very vital. And I also think that something I'm very passionate about, and I've been using my platform to speak out about, is having free and reduced lunch and breakfast for all schools in Washington and other states. So I would ask how the governor would go about helping schools on that front.
That's a good question.
Thank you.
That's a good question.
Thank you.
So I one, and I'm trying to choose my words carefully here for this next piece, but it goes back to the conventions. And so, like I said, I was really impressed to see how you handled yourself
Thank you.
during those. Even I could tell there were some folks that were uncomfortable and
Yes.
didn't know what to expect, but you were totally respectful through the
Thank you.
process. And I know that you want to be able to do the same thing at the Dems convention.
Yes.
And you haven't had any success
No.
in potentially getting, a media pass to be able to go.
Yeah.
And I know that you have also, during that time and between that time, you've actually interviewed some high level candidates on the Dem side. I think you've talked to Maka Dingra, you've talked
Yeah.
to Chris Recto. Like, who else
Yep.
have you been able to talk with on the other side of the podium?
Yeah, it's really interesting to me because I'll have great conversations with Democrats and great interviews, and they will be so kind, so respectful, give me great answers one on one. But the big people in charge, I guess, of the Democrat Party are not that way at all, and they'll use my past videos and past tweets and past opinions that I used to have against me. I'm sorry that I've had my platform since I was 12 and I've grasped different opinions. I would sure hope that my opinions from being 12 years old to being 16 years old and older would change. I think it's healthy to have changing opinions, and it's really interesting when not just the Democrats, but also
Mhm.
Republicans and independents and adults and people on all different political fronts will not accept me or have even just a conversation or a 5 minute interview or less because
Mhm.
of opinions I used to have or even things I've never said but just judgments that they might have.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Democrat Party will not give me a pass as of now and is not being very kind towards me, which I'm not asking for them to welcome me with open arms and say I'm the most like awesome journalist they've ever seen and I'm great and all of these things. I don't want that. I don't need the sugarcoating. I just want to be able to have a sit down conversation. And also, a lot of people think that my show or my point of doing interviews is to do the whole like I got you sort of thing, that little soundbite where I can be like, ooh, Washington Democrat representative looks stupid because I asked him this. I don't do that. I have not
No.
done that, and I will never do that because I think that's what's killing journalism. That's what's killing politics, and that's going to turn everybody away. There's going to be some people that click on that video and be like, "Oh, this is so awesome," but that really won't do anything because my goal is to report the truth
Mhm.
and if I cannot give somebody the answer, I will find somebody who can give them the answer. That's the point of journalism. It's not the whole I got you soundbite clickbait thing. And I
Yeah.
really wish that I could speak with people from both sides without the drama and the negativity.
Well, we'll do whatever we can to assist with that as well. Because that's what the nature of City Club is about.
Yeah.
Civil discourse and being able to have various points of view, kind of at the table and listening to one another. So
Great.
I am going to put out that challenge as a registered Dem, whatever that
Mhm.
means. But I think again it goes back to the crux of what this youth council was created for, was to be able to talk across the lines,
Yeah.
and also to be able to bring in the younger vote and the younger voice.
Yeah.
And I say this across whatever party it is. It's if the goal is, and I think for the two large parties that this is the goal, is that they want to win more people to
Yeah.
their side.
You'd think.
How do you win more people to your side if you're going to exclude them from even being able to participate? And so that's
Exactly.
really the stance that I have around it. I've reached out to some people on both sides and
Yes.
said, look, if your goal, if you're really saying that you value the Gen Z vote, but you also know that in this past election, the number was what, 16%? In order to increase that number, you have to open a door,
Yeah,
open a window, draw back a curtain and say, hey,
exactly.
here's what's going on. And hopefully you will lean into where we're going. But if we're excluding people from the very beginning,
Yeah.
then how are you saying that you want to bring more people over?
Exactly. It's such an oxymoron, and I wish conversations would be normalized. I think that's an insane thing that has to be said. I think conversations are crucial to a better future. So the fact that people on both sides are not mature enough to do that is insane.
Well, I think that this is going to change, and I'm hoping that between you and Kellen and Shirag and
Yes.
Brooke, that you guys can help make that happen. And I'm looking forward to seeing just the work we'll be able to do during this debate season and working with other groups
Likewise.
like Building Bridges and others. And for those of you in Snohomish County, if you're not familiar with Building Bridges Project, Google it. It's an ambitious and much needed program for youth to
Yes.
be engaged politically and civically across the county, regardless of what your political leaning is. So,
Absolutely.
Kellyanna, thank you so much for carving out time.
Thank you, Lisa.
I'll let you have the last word if there's something you want people to know about you that maybe that's not coming across, or maybe that they just haven't been wanting to pay attention to. This is your moment.
Yeah, so just to reiterate what everybody is saying on Twitter, I think that people's opinions can constantly change, and I think that they should. And yeah, as I've been saying, what I'm trying to my main message is conversations can go such a long way, and don't be afraid to have those tricky conversations. I'm not saying every conversation or debate with somebody that disagrees with you has to be peaceful, and I don't think you should I mean, not I think it should be peaceful. I don't think it has to be exactly, rainbows and all of this perfect things, because with politics, it comes a lot of empathy and emotions and personal experiences. So obviously, there's going to be some emotion that comes up, which I think is normal. But I don't think that you should go into debate with the mindset that I'm going to change this person's opinion. I think you should go in with the mindset where I'm learning and I want to hear their opinion, which maybe can form some different opinion, but not necessarily changing your whole belief system, because then there's not really a point of having the conversation. But healthy conversations can go such a long way, and I think that we should normalize that again.
That is the perfect sentence to end on. So thank you so much. I know I'm going to see you soon
Yes.
over the summer. But everyone, thank you so much for watching. Please like and share, and we'll be back with another Civically Speaking in the next few days. In other
Yes.
words, take care.
Thank you.